here to celebrate this day that we've anticipated for so long now. I know Elevated Thought is so exciting too for this project to kind of become realized today. So we're so happy about that. I'm Jessica Vilas. I'm the director of the Lawrence Public Library. I've been serving here for 3 years. And so just to share very briefly, and then so that we can bring up Marquis, who will share about the process, and Alex, who will share about the piece itself, and we'll talk about the process in general, but just to talk about the library, because that's my thing, right? I'm the library person. There's so much that happens here at the library that a lot of common things we're aware of. It is a place where you can find a lot of resources, information resources. A lot of the exchange of information and resources happen here, but it's also a space, and a safe one for the community. It's one of the last democratic spaces in our community where you can just come and be, right? You can be yourself. We don't judge you when you walk through the door. And we welcome you. We want to continue to welcome you. And aside from all of the things that we offer as a traditional library, we have also realized that we can also have people experience art here, and arts and culture. And that's why today is so important to us and the community to have something so major and big and prominent where you can't drive by it without seeing it, you can't walk by it without seeing it. It's to say that arts and culture is also important for a public library, and then we as a Lawrence Public Library can be a hub for that, right? And it's already been happening, right? The staff earlier was reminding me, we've already been doing this for the last couple of years. So we launched an art gallery on the second floor, which soon will have a curator actually come in and do that professionally for us. We have, with the support and sponsorship of Andover Breadloaf, and we have Luminary here from Breadloaf, we have the Writing in the Arts camp that happens every summer for 2 weeks for youth in Lawrence. We have that Writing in the Arts camp happening monthly as well for the teens in the Teen Corner, and we're going to add one for the little kids. It's called Slice Saturdays in the children's room because we're opening on Saturdays. It's starting in January, right? And we weren't opening before. So that's just some of the things happening. Fuerza, open mic, just all the great things, arts and culture. But I just want to leave you with that. This is a very special space, and one we're in right now that will continue to transform and be a performance space for our community, because our community needs it and wants a place to be able to gather and experience arts and culture, right? So if you can help me welcome our first speaker, Marquis. You want to come up, Executive Director of
Yo, shout out to Jess for what's going on at the library, for real. Let's give it up. Yeah. And then also, shout out to Mayor Rivera. I got a little story about this, because part of this is beautification tied to community, and envisioning a beautiful future for Lawrence, while also at the same time highlighting the culture, the community, the beauty that already exists, right? So in 2014, we got a green light to start this beautification process by doing electrical boxes. We were running our summer program. We're taking some of the designs that the youth were doing, their poetry, and creating our electrical boxes. And Mayor Rivera, he was cool with it, right? So a year later, when we were doing it again in 2015, I kind of got ahead of myself a little bit. And I told a couple graffiti artists who were looking to do yeah, we want to be part of the beautification. I said, all right, bro, go to the Common, those big black boxes. So they rolled up in there and did some gigantic Dominican flags and Puerto Rican flags. Yes. Within 10 minutes after it was over, I can't hit up. Because I guess there's some folks in the city that weren't too keen on that. We weren't too privy to the historical district and all that. So Mayor Rivera, he kindly told me to get my ass back there and take that down before the end of the day. So we did that, and that was a good process, because it realigned our vision and made us understand that we have to get the community involved in all the beautification that we do, in all different facets. Youth, trustees, historical people, but business owners and other organizations as well. And when we started this process, Co-Creating Culture, community engagement was the main thing. And shout out to Essex County Community Foundation, the Creative Community. Karen's real cool with me, so she's real open and honest, right? Karen and Strang, you want to stand up? Because y'all been really great this whole process. Give them a round of applause. So, Karen got this, and the crew got our application, and Brad from Groundwork, Brad Boucher, who's not here, he was instrumental in getting this application done, which was submitted at 4:59 p.m. on the day it was due at 5 o'clock. So Karen, you know, she told me in frankness that if it wasn't elevated thought, this application just wouldn't cut it. It was terrible. We didn't really know what we wanted to do. We had like 9 different aspects to the application. But they had trust in us, and they know that we wanted to engage the community and create something that was going to be meaningful and capture the essence of youth voice, but also other community members, right? And leveraging the library and its new standing, new standing as a cultural hub and a beacon in the community to do it. So we refined this process, and we got feedback from over 500 young people in the city. And then we had the elevated thought young people contribute. And my elevated thought young people, y'all come up now. Please come up here. All y'all in the back. Act like I didn't tell you I was going to do this. Come on. And Alex, I'm going to call you up too, so come up with me. Oh, what did I say, man? I'm already talking. So Celeste Cruz, who's not here, she curated a book a year ago. It was called An Ode to Lawrence. And it was poetry, illustrations, photography that summarized the youth vision of what the past meant to them, the present, and what do they want to see in the future. And there's young artists whose artwork is completely unadulterated in the actual final design that we leveraged and they contributed to. And youth provided feedback during the whole process. But the young people, this is a small group right here. And they say this phrase all the time, youth are the future, but youth are now. And the main point behind this mural, right, is co-creating culture, because Lawrence is diverse, it's dynamic, there's a lot of different cultures. So, you know, you want to utilize all those cultures to create a refined vision of the future. But at the end of the day, youth have the most power. And that's a scary thing for a lot of people. It is a very scary thing for a lot of people. But the future of not just the city, in my opinion, if we want to get really crazy with it, of human civilization depends on leveraging their voices and giving them a platform to speak, to create, to find out what they're like and what they're good at, so they can empower themselves, so they can in turn empower the community like this community right here. So we hope that you see, every time you look at this mural, you see the voice of thousands and thousands and thousands of young people that populate this city. And it's a reminder that anytime, any place, give them a chance to speak. Listen to them. Don't just hear them. Listen to them. Because they don't know everything, like I always say. But they know a lot. And a great deal more than us who are a bit jaded and bitter by the world as we get older. So from my perspective, Alex is going to talk a little bit more about the nuances of this process, because it was a pain. but it was beautiful and fulfilling. I just want to say shout out to these young people right here and the young people of Lawrence who really make this happen.
I'm not going to say too much. I just want to say thanks to some of like the integral people that made it happen. And I think through that, we'll probably tell a little story of kind of the process and how this came to be. Marquis kind of explained some of the behind the scenes about the grant, how that came in. And then that process sort of began with that Ode to Lawrence book. We kind of took that to heart. We went through that. We kind of dissected it. We found a few prominent images that really stood out to us, and then we figured how can we shape this student work and kind of do what Marquis said and kind of really create a culture, a co-community design. So with that, first I'll thank the library trustees. Meeting with them a lot, they really kind of geared me and helped steer me towards a real solid, full design. So thanks for not only helping me do that, but working with me, being patient with me, and kind of sticking it through the whole ride. Amita and Susan at the Historical Center, they were great. They really helped me find, I would say, I need this kind of feeling in a photo or this kind of feeling. They kind of knew, all right, go look in this box of 7,000 historical. So, but that was important because they steered me right towards what became, some really changing, important imagery. Sam Fasella and his guys, Jerry's, they helped me kind of lay the frame and the steel for this. Without them, without any of these people, it wouldn't happen. Without Sam, his knowledge, his constant effort, his constant kind of backing, and always willing to kind of do what I needed him to do, so to speak, really helped bring this thing to life physically. Some of the people so once we got the steel frame up, right, that took months of engineering and designing and architecting. Once we finally got this up, shout out to my buddy Matt Chenard, he helped me get a lot of that steel up, like I said, Sam, Jerry. But once we got it up, we had to get the actual mural panels, which is it's like a metal sheet, right? So we had to screw up 14 of these, the tallest being 40 feet in the air. So that's when I called in my oldest brother, who's a contractor. Him and his guys came in, they helped me kind of design a rig that we could put the boards safely in without scratching them, get them 40 feet in the air safely, getting onto the steel, drill the 8th steel, go through 1,000 drill bits, 1,000 screws. So they kind of were just always there to help me problem solve the construction side of it. And yeah, I'm real grateful for that. I also have to give a huge shout out to my wife, who was out there in the freeze, 2 of the most freezing cold days, helping me screw sheets off because she knew I just needed to get up in there to keep my sanity, and she was there backing me, screwing stuff off. What's funny is we had the tarp covering it like 3 weeks probably, and it was all like kind of done. I was just kind of putting on it, putting some screws in here and there, and for 3 weeks that tarp stayed on. Literally yesterday, we get a phone call, it blows off. I'm like, you kidding me? So I rush down in the morning and I'm like struggling. It's it's a huge tarp, it's blowing me everywhere. And sure enough, my father drives by in his oil truck. I'm like, oh my, what a godsend. That's how it helps me. What could have been a 2-3 hour ordeal by myself with a lot of curse words turned into a quick 30-minute fix with his perfect timing. So yeah, and then that's it. Yeah, the impact I hope it has is Keith's pretty much nailed it. Like, I want people to look at this and see not only the past of this city, the present of the city, the future of the city, but how interconnected those things really are, and how youth is kind of one things that does always interconnect any time frame, right? That's kind of like the most important. So yeah, I hope that's what the city gets away from it. I can't thank the city, the mayor, everybody involved with this. It literally has been the biggest team effort of any project. I've been on big projects, but they get bigger and bigger, and the team gets bigger and bigger, and works harder and harder. So thank you to everybody.
Isn't that an incredible process that took place, I think, over 18 months? Let's just give it up again to. Just want to help me welcome the Mayor of Lawrence. Mayor, come. And she'll some closing remarks before we go outside. Thank you.
How about another round of applause for the artists and I just want to make sure that we'll do this. We have a lot of support from people. And we have lots of friends in government that help the state delegation, but I just want to make sure everybody knows that one of our state representatives, Christina Minicucci's in the back. Christina, thank you so much for coming today. But this type of stuff happens with the support of all the state delegations, the city council. We have always friends in the nonprofit field, and you heard about Elevated Thought and Bread Loaf and ECCF, but we also have Lawrence Partnership with us. Jared from Lawrence Partnership, I think, a nice round of applause for their support always. So when I first became mayor, we had a transition plan, and it basically was a laundry list of things people wanted me to do. I wasn't even in the meetings, and we just wanted people like, yo, if you could change this thing, what would you do? And I think of 8 committees, the library came up in at least 3 of them. Education, the cultural on a bunch of at least 3 of the committees to talk to. But none of that stuff could have been done without the okay and support and really the guidance of the trustees of the library. Because the library is not like the DPW director in that position, or even they have their own board, and the person who runs it reports to them, and we support that process. And I just want to make sure everybody knows our trustees that are here, if they can stand up and stay standing for a second. Suzanne Pizzutello, she's here. She was here. Jay Dowd, I know Jay, I see him up front. Jay Dowd. Arlene Ross. Mary Guerrero. There's Pat Bird here. Pat Bird. Our friend Eileen Burnell. And I'm the chair. I don't very seldom get to the meeting, so Jay is the chair as the vice chair of the committee. But I don't think I've ever had a chance to do this publicly. Thank you for trusting in me and allowing us to put into place a non-traditional director in Jessica Valentin. You guys did that. I just get the idea, but if you guys didn't do that, we wouldn't be seeing the renaissance that we've been seeing. And I think it's what you guys always wanted, but I wanted you to know that I really do appreciate. You allowed me to check off 3 things off my transition plan, making this place the way it is. So another round of applause for our trustees. But Marquis is right. Like, we got crazy about that thing. When you have a lot of people from Puerto Rico, a lot of people from the Dominican Republic, and a lot of people from Guatemala, like, you don't want to have flags. Flags are problematic. Unless you have all of the flags. Haitian people get mad. It's like, but he was great. They responded. They painted great murals on it. And we've invited him to do more because we just love the artistry that him and his organization come bring to us. And there's always going to be tension between the status quo and change and revolution. That's always going to be the tension there. But the important thing is that we still, at the end of the day, keep living together and loving each other. I think we have that. We're going to see this in this mural. And for the longest time, I went to high school across the street. And there was a time where just no one ever felt really comfortable coming over here. And I think that's changing every day. Dads with Donuts is a program they run to bring single dads and their kids into the library to talk and stuff. Last night they were building Last night or the night before? Last night they were building gingerbread houses, and I was like, oh, that'd be nice. Like 2 or 3 families would be there. It was packed. If I would have known, I would have come because I like gingerbread. Then I would have had myself a house full of gingerbread. But I think that this is another manifestation of the great work Jessica and her staff are doing. And a round of applause for Jessica and her staff for doing. Bringing us a world-class library to what is a world-class city in Lawrence. So thank you so much. Everybody get ready to pack yourself together. Get your jackets. It's cold outside. And we're going to take the tarp down on purpose this time?
Yes, on purpose.
Let's look at this beautiful mural. Thank you.
Was all right? Yeah.
So we're going to do this together. Everybody count us down. Everybody count to 5. 10. We're going to count at 5. Okay. You guys going to count. Derek, can you help me out? Start at 5? 5, 4, 3,